a multi-step one. So this is where we also have a negative out front. Remember when we talked about that? That is that reflection across the y equals 0. So this is our reflect in y equals 0, or what some people call the x-axis. But we name that axis of symmetry, that line that goes across this, which is y equals 0. We're going to also talk about this one. This is our y values are times or multiplied by 1/2. And notice that I didn't say multiplied by negative 1/2 because the negative is talking about the reflection. So the negative is we already talked about the reflection, so that takes care of that negative. The multiplier 1/2 is the y value multiplier, and I do have to remember that this is x minus a -3 inside here. So this means that all points are being translated left 3. So I've got multi-step things to do. So I'm going to kind of take a few at a time. I'm going to take my reflection and my multiplier, sort of work with those together. So I'm going to do that in blue first, okay? So I'm going to look at my y value is a positive 1 here. So now it's going to be a -1. So if I had a positive 3, that's going to be a -3. A positive 5 going up, because those are my y values, so I'm going to be reflecting it across y equals 0. So I'm going to go down -5, and notice that I have my slope going in the other direction, so left 1 down 2, left 1 down 2 to the edge, and then I'm going to continue the other direction, up 2 to the right 1. Now, notice that my reflection is still happening. I have a -1 going down, so a -1 y value is the opposite of that. That reflection is a positive 1. -3 down would be a positive 3 being reflected up. 5 down would be 5 positive going up. And I will continue my graphing. So this right now is kind of just my negative. So if I only had that negative out front, this would be my graph of that, and I'll just make a light line of that. That's what I like to usually do, is give myself a reference, but notice how it's just a light line compared to my solid line of my graph. So now I'm going to take and do this y value multiplier times 1/2. So I'm going to take these negative ones, the reflection ones, and take half of those y values. So this one would be a -1, so I'm going to plot that positive 1. -3, half of that would be 1 1/2. Oh, it's one of these half ones that are going to be tricky all the way. 5 would be 2 1/2. -7 would be 3 1/2. And I can see my pattern now of my slope, left 1, down 1, left 1, down 1. And it's halfway in, but it's still down a whole unit. Left 1 unit, down 1 unit. Left 1 unit, down 1 unit. And I'll continue that slope all the way to the edge of my graph. Then I'll do it the other way, thinking this is 1 y value, multiply that by 2/2 is 1/2. 3 y values times 1 would be, or 1/2 is 1 1/2. 5 y values would be 2 1/2. And then I've got my pattern that I can see with my slope is a positive slope. And again, I'm not quite finished, so I'm going to do a light graph once I get my points all lined up. Okay, so I'm gonna put kind of stronger arrows on this one so I know which at the ends, so I know which one I'm going to translate now. So I'm going to switch to my red, which is my final one. So I'm going to take all those points that I plotted, which is my solid line, and translate those left 3. So I'm going to take all of these points that I had just plotted and go left 3 units. So I'm going to plot that 3 units left. Now I'm going to do the next one. So 3 units left, and that's this minus 3 right here in my x minus number. So that's that h value change. So I'm just going to now use my slope because all of these have been translated left 2, nope, sorry, left 3 units. So this point right here that I just plotted, that point came from this graph over here being translated 3 units left because of that minus 3. And I'll get more points all the way to the edge. And this one I'm going to be very careful trying to get right in the middle. This one up here I'm going to put one more to get right at that edge. Then line up my straight edge, my ruler. One, there we go. And now I'm going to make a nice solid line. So this one is my final graph. The other ones are all my reference ones. This first one was that reflection. The lighter one here was the reflection of using the negative in the front. Then I was taking half of that, the reflection one, and then I translated all of those points left 3 units to get my final graph of the red function.